Hey guys, welcome back. It's Two Guys in Hockey Talks with some special guests today. Evan, how you doing?
Hey, good. How you doing, Pavel?
I'm doing well. Hockey's back, baby. I love it. And we have two fellow guests and fans of the show joining us. We want them to introduce themselves, and we want to know when they were drafted, because clearly they're the prospects to take over when we retire, which could be at any point, right? So we'll start off with Aaron. Aaron, tell us a little bit about yourself and where your love from hockey comes from.
Hey guys, my name's Aaron. I have not been drafted yet. I'm keep waiting for the call. I show up at every draft, and for some reason my name's just never there. I've got my nice suit on. I just feel like that kind of gets wasted. But I guess in the interim, I've kind of become a professional hockey fan that doesn't get paid. So I'll just happy to be here and chat about the sport.
Welcome, Aaron.
Hey guys, Jordan. I actually used to play hockey with Pavel. And I started off, funny enough, as a Devils fan. Brodeur, Elias, Stevens, Niedermeyer, those are the kind of guys that I grew up on. The Trap. Who doesn't love the Trap? I
mean, sure you're not a Wild fan?
Yeah. Hey, it works. So 2-1 games, you know. But, welcome. No, seriousness, just a huge hockey fan. So
welcome, Jordan.
Very excited. Thanks.
Well, I just want to acknowledge something here. I know if you're watching us here today, this is a new format that we are starting up here. So with Two Guys in Hockey Talk, but you see there's four guys. So today is Two Guys and Hockey Roundtable. However, it should be called Three Guys with a Beard and One Guy with Nothing.
Three guys.
Clearly, because Evan plays for New York Islanders, so he plays under loose rules where he can't have a beard. So for the rest of us, we're lucky, but you should cover that up, man. It's winter.
I just get a little bit closer so we can see. I'm working on it, boys.
Do you have an HD view? I can't tell from here.
Well, guys, we're going to get straight in this. We got a couple things we're going to cover. So the first thing that we want to cover today is we want to talk about 3-on-3 hockey. So here's our first topic that we're working with. 3-on-3 hockey. Who is the best 3-on-3 team? So if it's San Jose, Edmonton, if we're talking about the Detroit Red Wings, not. If we're talking about the New Jersey Devils, if we're talking about the Dallas Stars or the Tampa Bay Lightning, who is their unit of a 3-on-3 that would be able to play this year that you will call the best 3-on-3 in the league? And why don't we start with our new guy here, Jordan?
The best 3-on-3 team. I actually had to think really hard about this one. There's a lot of good teams. Being in Edmonton, your easy pick is Edmonton, but I thought about a well-rounded 3-on-3, and I have to go with the defending champs. Tampa Bay Lightning, you have Braden Point, you have Kucherov, you have Hedman, and you have Vasilevsky in net. I just don't know how that can be beat. But hey, I guess we'll see. Time will tell.
I don't know. I think that's an easy pick. What do you got, Aaron?
You know what? Obviously, I'm an Oiler fan. I got to be a little bit of a homer. I got to pick up McDavid, Ryan, Barry. But hear me out, because that's too easy. I decided to go out of the box a little bit. I've got a top three for you. So obviously at the top, I've got McDavid, Ryan, Barry. Number two, I've got McKinnon, I've got Rantanen, I got Makar. That kid on the defensive line is an absolute stud. But McKinnon, obviously, you know what? There's always that debate who's between him and McDavid, so you can never count that guy out. But number three, as much as I'm an Oiler fan and it pains me to do this, I got to give it to Toronto. You got Tavares, you got Marner, you got Riley. That is just a stacked lineup, and that's one that I don't really want to see as an Oiler fan.
Well, before you go, Pavel, he kind of took my thunder. The Avalanche, how can you not go with Rantanen, McKinnon, and Makar? I mean, that is an incredible unit to play. I wanted to pull the homer, but unlike our buddy Aaron, I decided not to be a homer. And I will give the notable to Edmonton. Draisaitl, Barry, and you can throw your notable in there too if you got one here coming up, Jordan. But I'm going to throw it in because I do agree that having Draisaitl, McDavid, and Barry on the back end. But I tell you, I would have gone number one if they still had Klefbom this year.
I do have a notable. So Pittsburgh would be my other team. Yeah, you have solid everywhere again. So
So you're running with Crosby, Malkin, and Letang.
Letang, and then you got Jari in net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
How about you two?
Well, I mean, you guys pretty much went through the list of all the ones that are pretty much elite. You know, Colorado, Tampa Bay, Edmonton's the solid mention, Toronto's solid. What we don't think about, which
it's Philadelphia,
is, I can
right?
almost throw up the Flyers. But before I get there, a notable mention in center of Canada is the Winnipeg Jets. If you're going to tell me that Connor Hellebuck from the net, who's our Vezina winner from last year, and then you got Blake Wheeler and Mark Scheifele, and you can add, I don't know, one of their D guys. I mean, anyone could be interchangeable. You got a solid 3-on-3 right there, right?
And
I don't know,
what?
guys. I never thought of the goalie. The goalie matters. I take Edmonton out this year. They're out, man. And I don't know if I'm going. I don't know if I'm actually now going to go with. I'm going to come back on this one.
If we're throwing the goalies in, I think I got to go with Toronto because you know what? Same thing. If we got Koskinen in net versus Anderson, between those two, with everything considered, I think I got to lean that way.
It's the thing you always forget about in 3-on-3, and
we've got two goalies.
Other teams do against Edmonton is they're going to do puck control against Draisaitl and McDavid, and once they are off, then the other team can go and attack, right? So.
Yeah, just play the defensive game, right? Let's play the favorite, the Devils. Let's play the
trap.
The trap.
I also want to give a shout out to Washington Capitals because you can't cut out Ovi, you can't cut out Kuznetsov or even TJ Oshie, and of course on the back end you've got John Carlson and Sorokin, right?
I love Pavel's name.
Samsonov. Too many Russian names.
You know, when I talk about the famed KLL line, I always have fun with that one. You know, when you're saying, there's Krutov and Larionov and Makarov, and don't forget that there's Kuznetsov and we got Kucherov. A lot of Ovs in the Russian family. I really think we should have, the Ovs versus Canada.
We could have a whole team of Ovs and Skis.
The Ovs versus the Skis. Okay, guys, that might be another show. All right, let's jump ship before we sink this one and lose all our followers. Let's get over to talk about the North Division. I know it's called the what? Is it the Scotia? I'm trying to recall. What do we call it?
The Scotiabank Division.
Scotia North.
Oh, you call it the Scotiabank. Oh, now we're even getting more detailed. They're getting good advertising, even on our podcast. So we got the North Division, which is technically what it's called. We all know it's the Canadian Division. So with them, what we want to do is we want to look at the top prospects. So the only thing, and I know when I sent this out to you guys, asking you to come up with kind of the top prospects that you would say from each team in this North Division coming up. One of the things that I didn't mention is it should not be someone who's not eligible for a Rookie of the Year. So they pretty much should have under 35 games played. If not, you need a little more time. We can come back to you on that. Excuse me. So who wants to go first here today and list out your prospects for the North Division that you think for each Canadian team?
So I can start off, and I have kind of a list that I made for all the players. And I think the best way to go about it is that I'm going to go from least to worst. So the teams that have the weakest prospects to the best. Now, there are some ties in between. So in sixth place, and I know there's 7 teams, so bear with me, Winnipeg Jets. I don't think they have a lot of prospects coming up. I think they're struggling. I think they really need to restock their shelves. Some guys they've picked up, but really not enough to make an impact in the next little bit. Next is Calgary Flames. Same thing. Brad Treliving did some good work on the floor this year on the draft, but not enough to stock up. Next is Toronto. They have some guys coming up, but not the same. Vancouver, a little bit better. Edmonton in second, which we have some good defensive prospects. And the teams that I find the most successful with their prospects is between Ottawa and Montreal, both together. I think not one is better than the other. I think both have elite players coming up. right? Now we can get into the merits of which one, but I want to hear your thoughts about where and who stands where with prospects.
Okay. So did you have the prospect specific?
I have a few. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have. So, for example, for the ones that I wrote down for Ottawa, you've got Jake Sanderson, you've got Tim Stutzel, you've got Eric Brandstrom,
So
you've got Josh Norris.
Who's their best right now? Who does Ottawa got? You call them their best prospect?
Stutzel, hands down. One game, Stutzel, he's there. Next, probably Jake Sanderson and Josh Norris, guys who are going to be elite players, very solid. You got Shane Pinto, who has a lot of top ceiling for him.
Okay.
Yeah, quite a few.
Okay, let's go over to Edmonton. Who are you taking in Edmonton as their best prospect?
Ooh, I'm going to let Jordan take this one.
So actually, I kind of have two guys, but Yamamoto is a little bit over those 30 games. But
yeah. That's okay. That's fair. I think.
There,
yeah. Let's go with Yamamoto.
Kind of what he's done in obviously last season and coming into this season so far, what I've seen is just brilliance. He's a hound on the puck. He's just every single time he's out there, he's making something happen. My other guy, though, if you just want to go straight off prospects, is Evan Bouchard. I see exactly him filling a role within next season, most likely. Most of the guys that I actually picked on my list are guys that are going to help right now, not necessarily the best prospect.
Go ahead. Let's hear him.
I look at it in the way that there's going to be teams that are going to pick, we're going to pick prospects, but we don't know what they're going to be in a couple years. And so I picked guys that are maybe right now are good. So.
Okay. And how did you set yours up there, Aaron?
You know what? I kind of went the opposite direction. I went from west to east. And I just kind of looked at who I thought, and me from our draft days, I like to kind of go with the Yzerman route. I go off the board a little bit. Some of them are obviously with the standalone ones that are number one. You just got to go with it. For myself with the Canucks, I looked at Podkolzin. You just got a big power forward Russian in that guy. He's going to be a really good balance for that team because you look at guys like Pettersson and Horvat. They're going to be all-stars in this league, but you need to have someone that's good at that transition that's also just good at driving the net. So he's going to be an awesome fill there. The Flames, I'm going a little bit off the board, though, because I'm actually going with their goalie, Dustin Wolf. He had a stellar WJC when he was there. I think he had a .935 save percentage when he was there, and he's just a big reason why the Americans even had a chance in 2020. I mean, 2020s, but you know what I mean. Yeah. We won't deal with the semantics. With the Oilers, I got to go with the most Holland of Holland picks, the big Swedish defenseman, Broberg. The man knows how to move the puck. He's also got some pretty soft hands and good wheels for a bigger guy. So I'm very excited to see him come up. But having said that, Bouchard, nothing against him. I love him. I cannot wait to see him in Oilers Silks more long term. For the Jets, I just got to take a look at my notes here. It's pretty obvious. It's Cole Perfetti. The guy is a hound. He just goes up and down the ice like no one's business. Leafs, I'm going with Sandin, which is actually kind of surprised, but the reason I go with that, I mean, you can look at Nick Robertson because he's going to be a good forward for them, but they need defense. They've got so much up front. You need to have something on that back end to look forward to. Sens, how do you not go with the German Stützle? The man just had an incredible World Junior Championship. He comes and just scores an absolute bomb of a one-timer for his first NHL goal. And then in the halves, how do you not go with Caulfield? They've got so many picks, but that guy is a goal-scoring machine. I was so sad when Edmonton didn't pick him, but you know what? Good for the Habs. They need players like that.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Obviously, I think we're all pretty much in on Ottawa for Tim Stützle. By the way, his name's not Tim Stützle; it's Jimmy. If we have you been following? So Kachuk's calling him Jimmy until he wins the rookie.
What was the reason for that? I can't remember.
Oh, I didn't really catch the full article. All I know is they just were joking around or something, and so he calls him Jimmy, and they just kind of stuck to it. And everybody on the team right now is calling him Jimmy. So this is my prediction: at the end of the year, he's going to win Rookie of the Year. He's going to drop the mic and say. He's going to say my name. Sorry, he's going to say my name is now Tim, and he's going to drop the mic. I think that, and then he's gonna leave Jimmy behind him. But Stützle, yeah, man, the guy's phenomenal. He's just a driver. He's like a Yamamoto that's actually got size. By the way,
wheels.
Talking about Yamamoto, Jordan, I actually, because I'm a little bit older, I actually look back to Theoren Fleury. I remember people didn't think he would make it, especially because it was a big man's league. The guy had fire and grit, and he was like a Gumby. I don't know how Kyler Yamamoto is not been on the injured reserve twice yet. I mean, the guy should be blown apart with broken bones out there. So Winnipeg, obviously, we're going to go with Perfetti. I actually thought that was a steal of a deal. I didn't think he should have dropped that low. I think that they're underestimating that they're fortunate. Calgary, now he would have actually had more games in, but I'm going with Valimaki, their defense. I think Valimaki is going to have a great opportunity moving forward here. Edmonton, I am going to take Bouchard. And the reason I'm going to take Bouchard is couldn't be more evident in their first games this year. They need someone on the back end. And my prediction is within the first 20 games, he's going to get his chance. And I don't think he's going back. I think that slapper on the back end is what they need so that they have someone that it's not flipping that puck in. He can move the puck. He can skate the puck. I just think that he's going to be more of an all-around, probably a 40, 50 point kind of guy down the road. But I think he's actually going to be a top-line guy. Vancouver, Hoglander, obviously, I got to go with Hoglander.
Yeah.
Hoglander. I mean, the guy impressed me this early season, even to start. Seeing what he's already done in Europe, he's a little bit older. Caulfield. Now I got to give my love out for my boy Caulfield because in 2012 he was at, I think it was 2012, the Brick Invitational. Every year the Brick's on, I always have gone. That year I had in my notes, my little notes on my I think it was an iPhone 5 back then. But I had notes. Jack Hughes and Cole Caulfield played in the Brick Invitational. I got to watch them when they were like 12 years. Oh my goodness, those guys were phenomenal. And to see him still moving and doing as good as he is, it's great. Robertson, I'm going to take out of Toronto. I just think he's going to be that power forward that they've been looking for a while. And I think that pretty much covers most of my guys in there. So what are some of the ones, Jordan, then you didn't maybe cover?
So I did have them for all the teams. I actually had a lot of the same guys that you picked. The one that I'm surprised none of you guys have even talked about, it's like, I think he's solid, but with Montreal is Alexander Romanov.
Good call.
A beauty.
Good call.
Like top four.
He was just called back to what's it called, the taxi squad. So he's not playing tomorrow against Edmonton.
Well, that's not good.
No. Why'd you have to ruin my night? Come on.
Yeah, literally. I ruined my pick. I did have Stützle as well. That's just the easiest pick for Ottawa. I think the guy's going to be an absolute stud. Just great all-around player. I had Ville Heinola for Winnipeg, actually. Common case for a lot of my picks have been defensemen, but I saw what he did at the World Juniors. He was fantastic. They got themselves a steal, that Trouba trade. I'm sorry, but it's gonna backfire. You got two amazing defensemen out of that trade. So
remind me, who did they get out of that trade again?
They got Neil Pionk and they got Heinola, I guess.
Yeah, and Pionk.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say Pionk was a steal. Nobody expected him to play the way he did, given how depleted that he came on the right side. He rocked it. He was a rock last year for that blue line.
Yeah, I had so Toronto. I had Sandin, and Calgary. I had Valimaki. So similar picks. Vancouver. I had Hoglander, and So pretty similar picks.
You know, the amazing thing is every year we are seeing so many talented, skilled players. The NHL is just going to be overwhelmed with the talent coming in these next years. The only thing I'm worried about, and Pavel, you and I have talked about this on our Two Guys in Hockey Talk podcasts and stuff, is my concern is what's going to happen with this COVID, with the lack of development. There is a lack of development at every level, and I think that there's even talk they're saying that the WHL may not be able to get it off, even though they're planning it still.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, you look at, I think, again, I apologize, I'm going to sound like such a homer, but I think Holland did such an amazing job this year of getting players over to Europe to play, where they could actually get that development. I mean, you don't want to have guys that you think might make the lineup just hanging it out on the taxi squad, because if they don't get that shot, they're not playing, they're not developing. You have guys over in Europe, they're getting that chance to play against other men, and they are learning the game in different ways. And that's only going to help them coming back to North America when we're back to normal.
I think general managers like Holland are going to be further advanced over this next year, just for development and getting with his relationships over in Europe, right? I think we're going to see a lot more of that happening this next 4 to 5 months. Speaking of that, so before we get ready to wrap up, guys, for this show, quick thoughts on this goalie taxi squad circus that is going on.
Forsberg.
So I like that Forsberg has played now for 3 teams without even being on the ice. So it's one of the best things ever. I wish if that's how NHL teams want to hire me on and give me a contract, I'll even take a $10 contract just to be on the squad, right? But
one of the boys.
Jordan and I were talking earlier today about the guy that Edmonton picked off waivers for backup from LA, and we totally knew nothing about him. We were just
Growowski or something.
Who is this guy? What are his numbers? He's played 2 games, apparently one with a shutout. So clearly he's got some skill, but I know that Aaron Dell went on waivers today as well.
Yep.
And I had hoped, fingers crossed, that we get him. But of course,
yeah,
anything could happen, right?
And actually, it was said that they were worried about losing Dell to the Edmonton Oilers, so they made sure that they waited till they made a move before they made their move. So that's interesting. I mean, it's just they're getting a goalie, they're asking Rodriguez to come back. Well, it's a 2-week quarantine anyway. Why you leave him? Let him develop. Let someone from the States come down from one of the other team waiver wires. Let him sit for 2 weeks and play a game or 2 with your other goalie.
And you know what? I got to give a shout out over to Montreal, because when they signed Allen, normally, why would you need to sign Allen when you got Carey Price as your starting goalie? But you know what? The situation in Edmonton highlights how critical that's going to be. So if your number 2 guy is a starter on a lot of other teams, I mean, say what you want about Bergevin, he did a very excellent job there.
So here's a thought. Could Montreal be looking to get something extra and trade Allen at the trade deadline?
Nope.
The cap
did
buy. Yeah.
It's not even that. They got to protect him from the expansion, which, as we all know, is happening with Seattle, and you got to protect one goalie.
Yeah.
And if a team needs somebody and they're in those finals, it's just something to think about. Just something to think about, because carrying that kind of number, they're still going to need some offense. I think as the season goes on, their defense is going to get exploited. They have a system in place. They got big boys and stuff, but they're not. Their back end isn't fast. They're just smart positionally. Their front end, great speed. So anyway, guys, I guess we should wrap up. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Jordan. We'll catch you on our next week's episode for joining us. Pavel, it's been a splash.
Your humor is terrible. Just stop. Yeah. We're losing followers as we speak with your jokes. Grow a beard and then jokes will come.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us for Two Guys in Hockey Talk around our hockey roundtable. In the meantime, in between time, keep your stick
on the ice. Cheers.
Take care.
Cheers, guys.
Bye, guys.